Your culture is really talked about. It's inspirational. It's lasted over the time. I mean, I guess part of what we would like to know from you is, when do you really start thinking culture? I mean, did you start thinking from very early? Is that something came in later? And then
Yeah,
over the years, have you seen it change? Is that something that you've hired your leadership for or not hired? How's that whole experience been?
that's an excellent question. I remember the first 2 years of HubSpot, the word culture was a dirty word for Dharmesh and I. Anyone talk about culture would just roll our eyes like, it's a bunch of crap. Who cares about that stuff? What's the numbers? Yeah, what's going on? We're shipping product. Let's go. And about 2 years into HubSpot, and I recommend this to any founder out there, CEO, is I joined a CEO group, and there were 9 CEOs that met once a quarter for a day and went very deep on a topic. And it was a little bit of like, you learn from each other, but it was also misery loves company. It was a little bit like seeing your CEO psychiatrist. And I largely joined it because there was a CEO on there named Colin Engel that ran a company called iRobot. And you'll know iRobot because they make the Roomba, those robot vacuum cleaners. And I was totally had a man crush on Colin Engel. I just thought he was brilliant, and he was ahead of us, and he was public, and I just wanted to learn the fruit. So I largely joined because of him. And the format of the meeting, Anurag, was they had a topic, and they tell you the topic when you showed up at the meeting. And the day I showed up at the first meeting, I sat right down next to Colin because I got a man crush on him. And he announces that the topic for the meeting is culture. I was like, fuck. What a waste of time here. What a stupid culture. And I remember I didn't participate. I sort of, I wear my heart on my sleeve. We were grabbing coffee around 10:30 at the break, and he said, Brian, I don't think you think this culture thing's important. I said, you're right. I think it's a bunch of horse shit. And he said, Brian, culture is how you build a big company. Culture is how people make decisions when you're not in the room. Okay. So go through the meeting and starting getting engaged, whatever. And I go back to the office, and Dharmesh said to me, how'd the CEO meeting go? I said, it was really good. We talked about culture. And Dharmesh said, culture? What a waste of time. I said, no, Dharmesh, I don't know if you knew this. Culture is how you scale your company. Culture is how you make decisions when you're not in the room. And I basically parroted Colin's whole thing. And it was that meeting and that moment that changed it. And so Dharmesh, ironically, who is really introverted, like the big introvert, we volunteered him to be the culture guy. And so his first step was he surveyed all the employees. Maybe there were 50 at the time. And it was a net promoter survey, scale of 1 to 10, how likely you're to refer HubSpot to a friend, and then why. And almost everyone said they liked the culture, and they were glad we were talking about this stuff. And he took the answers to that, and he built, actually with one of our professors from business school, like a first cut of a culture deck. And we call that our culture code. And what the culture code does, the deck did, was it defined the relationship between the employee and the company. And we think of HubSpot as having 2 products. We have a product we sell to our customers. That product has to be unique relative to the competition and has to deliver massive value to our customers. Our culture code, our culture, is our second product. And we need to build a culture that is unique relative to our competition and is really compelling to our employees and prospective employees. So we started taking it very, very seriously back then. We built that culture code. Every 6 months or so, we do a tweak of it. Actually, Dharmesh right now is doing the first complete overhaul of the culture code deck. Given all the stuff that's happened in the world, we need to rethink some of it. So that's kind of how we've thought about it over the years. And I'll give you one more thought, Anurag, on that, because I remember being at the phase a lot of your companies are. We didn't know what to do about hiring an HR person. Our investors were like, you need to hire an HR person. And we just couldn't meet anyone that we thought was great in HR. And maybe it's changed in the industry, but just like, they weren't hardcore, they weren't analytical, They weren't innovative. They weren't thinking like, how do we build an awesome place to work? They were all thinking about benefits and, sort of very traditional stuff. We wanted to kind of transform that employee experience, match the way employees work with the way they think and the way they live and the way times are changing. And so we ended up giving HR to a woman on our marketing team, and she's still with HubSpot, named Katie Burke. And she has zero background in HR, was a really good marketer, which is important because you're marketing to prospective employees, you're marketing to your existing employees. And we said, you're going to take on people ops and you're going to figure all this, you're going to take this culture code and turn it into something special and build the machine. That worked out really exceptionally well for us over time. I don't know if that will work for you, but we had a hard time on the HR side finding someone that grew up in HR that was kind of hardcore like us.